Hey there, folks. This is Joe going out with another video. This video goes out to those in the Rust Belt. I think this applies to everybody, but I'm targeting those folks in the Midwest Rust Belt. You know who you are. You're in the steel mills. You're in the auto factories, the automobile parts factories supplying those production lines, the aluminum mills, the appliance factories, those big manufacturing companies. This is really dedicated to you folks. We're not Tesla, we're not Amazon, we're not Google. We're hardcore manufacturing. You've been beat up for 20 years. Collapsing budgets, shutdowns, buyouts, the gutting of your organization. The great times that you used to be having. You're just a shell of that organization. You're in defense mode. You're kind of keeping your head down. The status quo seems like the way to go, and because the next round of cuts is coming. Folks, I've been there. 27 of my 33 years was in a vertically integrated plant, massive operation. Had as many as 5,000 people working at it. There's less than, somewhere north of 1,500 now, just short of between 1,500 and 2,000, kind of move around in between there. But it was a massive facility, one of these 1 mile long, 1 by 1 mile wide facilities, heavy industry. I've been there. Defense and hiding, not wanting to draw attention to you folks, that only leads to one thing, plant closure. The only question is when. You're dying a slow death. Maintaining the assets, keeping them in shape where they can excel is a must for long-term viability of your plant, which is your community, which is your family, and all those you love and keep close to you. It's a big deal. There's a lot to lose. You're missing hope. I'll be honest, that's what it is. I've had several conversations in the last 2 days that really prompted this video. You need hope, and I think I got it. Not a theory. I didn't study this. This is what I was a part of this machine, part of this group, led several groups, driving reliability changes a different way that works with the pressures you're on here in 2020. I retired, as many of you know, and this is my mission now. My mission is to get this message out that there is another way that works at your plant. Give me 7 minutes and let me sell it to you, okay? This is Joe Kuhn of Lean-Driven Reliability, bridging the gap between best practices that you should be doing at your plant, and you just can't figure out how to do them with your current state of issues and pressures and box that you have around you. Hit like and subscribe, folks. We're gradually growing, but if you're listening to this, and if this is the 5th video you listen to, give me a subscribe. I try to keep track of how many people are listening in here. First of all, hey folks, it's not your fault. Forgive yourself. If where you're at, you're not proud of the work you're doing in your maintenance organization. Reliability best practices work, but not from the current state and the boundaries that are put upon you. The cost control, the headcount limits, the budget limits, the production demands that are overwhelming you make it impossible to take the advice that you read about in books, magazines, and in seminars. You can't, add people, train everybody, invest in the assets, spend millions of dollars, and get back to a point of reliability. That's what's been taught, has worked, actually works. That's how I learned. But in today's realities, my time as a plant manager has taught me that just won't fly in 2020. That traditional journey is what and you can't see out of that. You lost hope. An example, I'm going to talk from an example here, so hang with me. This is 2 real plants, 2 real conversations I've had in the last week. I combined the stories, okay, to kind of protect them a little bit. I just got a call, and this was from South Africa, wanting me to help him cut his PMs based on cost to execute. They had a budget and they had so much money, but how do I cut PMs based on the cost of executing the PMs? He had, interesting question, He had 22 PMs that they had scheduled during a reoccurring weekly outage, a 6-hour outage that they need to get these 22 PMs done. And so they needed to cut. They couldn't get them done. They had time for about 10. So which 12 do I cut? I need help. You know, folks, that's the wrong question. That's the absolute wrong question. You know, I think you need to have a waste focus. Waste focus. Very simple concept to get your head around. Study the 7 forms of waste. You've seen that. Tim Wood's the acronym for that. You know, we've talked about that before. Look that up if you don't know it, or call me. You know, evaluate the 22 PMs that need to be done during this outage. Look at it for resources. You know, does it need 2 people or does it really need 1? Look at the frequency. You know, is it weekly or can that be done every other week? Look at the duration of it. Is it, 4 hours? Well, hey, that's got discovery work in it. You really should be able to get this done in 1 hour. 9 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10 is 1 hour, put 1 hour down. Is it covered with PDM? You know, why are we doing a PM when it's covered with PDM if it's an inspection? You know, most companies find 30 to 50% waste in this. So if you got 10,000 hours, you cut that down to 5,000. Do the math on whatever you are. But I've never seen less than 30% when somebody does a great PM optimization. So 30%, let's say you're on the low end. Observe the next 3 outages, these 6-hour outages. Stand there with your team, stand there by yourself, get there an hour ahead, stay an hour after, watch for waste during this outage. Example, things to look for. Look for connection issues between groups. But, hey, what's the handoff from production to maintenance look like? What's the handoff from different maintenance groups look like? What's the handoff from maintenance back to production look like? Usually huge opportunity. I would say close to 50% of the opportunity I've seen is in this communication and the handoff. It's kind of a relay race, and we drop the baton a lot, okay? Look at efficiency and wrench time detractors, communication. Was all the work kitted in stage? When the outage started, that 6-hour outage started, within 5 minutes were wrenches turning? That's a question for you. And how, under what conditions could we do that? Getting in stage in. Did we have the right lockout tagout procedure? Did everybody know the lockout tagout procedure? And it was a well-orchestrated dance, just like the Indianapolis 500 pit stop. Is it that much of a efficient operation? It's common for me to work with plants on this observation of outages and be able to increase wrench time from 15 to 25% within a few weeks. That's a 67% increase in efficiency of the work. And you combine that 67% efficiency with some PMs that you cut 30% out of, hey, now it's starting to get interesting, folks. Now we start to have some hope and a plan that works. I think you're going to close about 80% of the gap with these techniques. Depending on the observation, you may add problem solving. Say you get, because of your efficiency and wrench time, you're able to pull somebody off the floor and have them be a problem solver, a pseudo reliability engineer. Problem solve the reoccurring issues that you have to address every single outage. Maybe there's a design change that person could put in. Maybe you add your PDM team. You've got one person doing vibe and you want to add a lubrication tech. And because of the efficiency of your wrench time that we already talked about, you got this lube tech. Okay. Hey, what about operator care techniques? What about operators taking on some of the low-level maintenance tasks? They do inspections, they do cleanup, things like that. Can that add some manpower to you? Hey, folks, I just laid out a plan with no cost, no additional heads, that can get your journey started, your reliability journey started, and it didn't cost anything. I didn't ask you to lengthen the outage, didn't ask for any additional head count, didn't ask for money for training. Hope is lost when you have a plan that you can't see out of. Shifting to a waste focus, I'm telling you folks, you need to give it a chance. It can put hope in your organization. Contact me, folks, for a free 1-hour consultation. You got my email in the text below. I'll set that up. No sales pitch. We'll just talk about your plan and some of the thoughts that I have for next steps. That's 100% free. Just problem solving, okay? Begin your journey, folks. If you want free pointers from me, let me know in the comments. Send me an email. If you need an experience guide, I guarantee I could shave years off your deployment. Thank you.